What's up, guys? Welcome into Good Morning Lambeau. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. You can find me on Twitter at Packers_access. If you want to email the show, you can send a message to PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us at 865-658-5824. As soon as we go live, man, I got a sneeze coming on here, of course. Anyway, Tim, how you doing, man? You're up there live in Green Bay, and I hear we got us a little weather moving in, man.
Yeah, man, you got the right background. It's pretty much what it looks like up here. A little bit of snow. Got our first snow here in Green Bay. First real snow. It's actually accumulating on the ground.
Nice, man.
And me being as prepared as I always am, I haven't even fired up the snowblower yet this year. So I'm going to be the goofball out in the cold, trying to mix gas and oil and fire up the snowblower, which I probably should have done a week ago. But I'm ready. Good thing I got a shovel too, right?
Yeah, let's see here. Let's look at the weather forecast. I actually pulled it up here. This is from the Twitter account at NWS Green Bay. They said additional snowfall amounts today will range from around a ½ inch across the north to nearly 2.5 inches across portions of Door County. I bet it's beautiful up there. My God. Roads will be snow covered and slippery at times. Slow down and allow extra time to reach your destination today. So if you go out, Tim, and try to get some daddy sodas later, man, just take your time, dude. Be responsible, all right? You feel me?
Might have to make that a hike rather than a drive.
Exactly. Let's give a shout-out to the chat real quick. We got Omer in here, obviously, always in the house. Red Mo up in here. Let's see, Chris in. Good morning to you, buddy. Nick McSwain, M. Smitty, Doug in here. Let's see, Mark's in the house. I think we got several Dougs. I've been getting emails from Dougs too, so I think we got several of those. Lance Dominguez in here. First snow. Wow, love it, dude. It's funny. Everybody who's not in Green Bay are loving it. Tim's up there going, I got to get this snow blower. Nick McSwain says, hopefully a snow game on the third. Hey, I would love to see it. You know, as fun as the Thanksgiving Day game was and everything went as perfect as it could, Tim, how cool would it have been to have football today on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
And you know, have us a nice snow game. We'll get us one before the end of the year, I'm sure, though.
Oh, yeah. And we might get one for the Kansas City game, too. Looking ahead, it looks like some snow coming up again in the weekend. So you never know. Could be an epic Sunday night football game on multiple levels.
Yeah, definitely. Chad Inc. in the house says we got about 4 inches last night in Iowa. You know, I watched the college football game. I can't remember who was playing last night, but it was so much fun. It was a snow globe. Who was that? It wasn't Washington and Washington State. That was a different game. But there was a snow game, dude, and it was. It looked like they got 3 inches during the game. It was absolutely awesome. I live for that stuff, Tim. That was, you know, when I was growing up, when they called for snow, the phone rang off the hook at the house, at mom and dad's house. It was everybody, hey, we're going to play ball. Let's go. Football. Let's go.
Yep.
Suit it up. Let's do this. It was so much fun, man, because we played in a little place in Benham, Kentucky, and we just called it the what was it called? Wasn't the Rotary Park? What was that place called? Oh, they just called it the Recreational Park. Now it's named after a basketball coach back home and a baseball coach named John Bond. But just a little sandlot. And, you know, in the summertime, we had a baseball portion, and we would cut the grass ourselves. For the most part, the city wouldn't take care of it. That's just how it was back home. But one end zone was just nothing but rock, bro. It was gravel. You hear about this all the time, right? And it's funny, too, because we had like a tall fence. I'm probably like 9-10 years old. And there was a tall fence, like a 6-foot fence going around this park, and it was all broken down with kudzu vines and stuff. But you score a touchdown, you go over and do a Lambeau leap on that fence every time, man. That's just the way it was.
I love it. I remember growing up to school, we had the concrete playground, which, you know, the parking lot, which is also your playground at recess. Mm-hmm. And we would always get excited when the snow would fly, because tag football at recess quickly became tackle football at recess.
Oh, yeah.
When you had that padded layer of snow, or so you thought. We'd come in from recess all bloodied and bruised up, looking like we got in a bar fight.
Well, that's why we love to play in the snow down there, because that gravel end zone, you couldn't feel it, right? You were good. You were good to go. So Lance Dominguez said he thinks it was Kansas State and Iowa. I think it was Kansas State and Iowa State, if I remember correctly, because it definitely wasn't Iowa. I think it was Iowa State. I think they were wearing red. So, yeah, it was a fun game to watch for sure.
I didn't catch any of the games yesterday, but I did see that our Fighting Irish put a whooping on them yesterday. That was good to see.
Yeah, they were playing Valdosta State Technical School or something. I can't remember who was it they were playing. It was some. It definitely wasn't. No, it was Stanford. It was Stanford, right? Listen at me. If you're a Stanford fan, I apologize. Let's just be honest. They haven't been the Stanford powerhouse that they used to be in quite some time, right?
Yeah.
That was back when I was a young whippersnapper when they were good. We used to walk uphill both ways to school, that type of deal. Let's see here. Lance Dominguez in the chat said, do you think Gary will receive any Defensive Player of the Year votes? I think he deserves it. Myles Garrett or Darren Bland will win it. Maybe try to put Aaron Donald in autocorrective. I don't know. The thing about Gary, he disappears sometimes. And in me watching the tape, when he does disappear, it kind of feels like they didn't want them to pin their ears back, right? When you see in Detroit, they were going up against two solid tackles. You could tell the game plan was just pin your ears back, go after the quarterback. The interior defensive line seemed like at least one kind of laid back a bit to where they could kind of cover the scramble lanes there, the scramble gaps. But I don't know, man. As much as I love Rashan Gary, I will say this. I mean, one thing he's got going for him, on Thanksgiving Day, the whole world was watching, right? So you kind of get your name out there when you dominate with 3 sacks like that. And I think he had 7 tackles or something crazy. So I don't know, man. Lance, if he keeps it up, you have a couple more of those 3-sack games, Tim. That now you're talking, right?
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I would think right now Myles Garrett's probably the favorite, in my opinion. And like you said, there's a lot of football left. So if Rashan continues this level of play that we've been seeing, he's certainly going to be in the mix. But I'll tell you this, he's definitely my vote for comeback player of the year for sure this year. So I think that would be something to look for. But hey, we'll see what happens. And we're going to need that pass rush going down the stretch here. So, hopefully Rashan is in the mix. That would be something special. I know he wouldn't take that lightly after everything he's been through to get back. So winning Defensive Player of the Year would be huge. But yeah, comeback Player of the Year possibly for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Red Mo in the chat said exactly what you just said there, Tim. Lance, he deserves it, but probably won't comeback Player of the Year. However, yeah, he's got to be at the top of that docket, right? I mean, who else could possibly get comeback Player of the Year? Maybe Josh Dobbs, just because he's a quarterback, right? But there's a lot of ball left too. I think Minnesota. Excuse me, I'm getting emotional talking about Minnesota. I think Minnesota is. I don't know, man. I'm not sold on Dobbs yet. I think he kind of caught people off guard, and now you got tape on him, and you see, okay, what kind? There's a reason he was a backup quarterback for so long, right? I mean, he's moved all around the league. If he was starting quarterback caliber consistently, then I think he would have a starting job, outside of the fact that Kirk Cousins goes down with an injury. So nonetheless, though, man, you can't write him off. Brian Flores is doing a good job with that defense. I know they don't look great statistically, but he has turned that around from a cultural standpoint and doing it with minimal assets, I guess you could say. I remember in the offseason, people were writing that defense off completely, right? I know this isn't a Minnesota podcast, but when you play them twice a year, it's important to mention kind of how the story unfolded. I was one that was saying in the offseason, and listen, I didn't pick them to be in position to make the playoffs. I did not, but I was just like, I don't know, watch out for Brian Flores. I told my nephew, Sammy, I was like, Sammy, listen, everybody's down on their defense because they lost a bunch of people. They just kind of cut bait with a bunch of people. They still got Harrison Smith. They got Daniil Hunter, and they bring in Brian Flores. It's not just about the scheme he calls, but the cultural overhaul you guys are going to get. B-Flow is a no-nonsense kind of guy. Like he is one of the main reasons that New England had so much success there in those Super Bowl runs. He's the one, if you watch the NFL films of the Malcolm Butler interception against the Seahawks in the end zone in that Super Bowl, he's the one who said, Malcolm, go, right? He's the one who called for Malcolm to get onto the field in that goal line situation. And that's crazy because they said that Ernie Adams had found that play on film, and they worked on it that week leading up to where if they give that stack tight look, jam the inside receiver, the back, or jam the guy in the front, and then shoot the slant underneath. They said that when they ran that in practice that week, Malcolm Butler didn't make that play not one time. And then B-Flow is the one who said, Malcolm, go, get on the field. Everybody's like, why is he out there? bang, game-winning interception. So you can't rule Brian Flores out. What do you think, Tim? You probably haven't followed him close like I haven't either. But how do you feel about Minnesota, man? I mean, like I said, it's a division rival. You think they're a solid team right now? How do you see them, man?
I don't know. I think it's kind of Jekyll and Hyde with them sometimes, because sometimes they look really good and sometimes they look extremely beatable.
Yeah.
But defense is definitely a strong suit. It has been for a while in Minnesota. That's one thing we can't really overlook. And defense will keep you in games. I mean, look at Cleveland right now. I mean, Cleveland's relevant mainly because of their defensive play. And we've seen it here in Green Bay too. Our defense keeping us in games, giving the ball back to your offense. But yeah, Minnesota, I'll tell you, they're not a pushover. And, in this division, that's kind of one of those teams, we're going to be in a dogfight with, and this is this game we have coming up. I believe we play Minnesota New Year's Eve. I mean, that's going to have huge playoff implications if things continue to trend the way they are. But, they're my least favorite team in the NFL. I cannot stand the Vikings. But you have to have a level of respect for what's going on there. And they are kind of putting things together. So something we need to be aware of in our division as we go forward.
Yeah, for sure. Red Mo in the chat said, I would love to see Kansas City come to Green Bay for a snow game. As of right now, next Sunday, the forecast is cloudy with rain and snow mix, a high of 40 degrees, winds 5 to 10 mile an hour, snow accumulations less than 1 inch. Of course, Tim, all that jet stream from up north, it's just got to dip a little bit further, and that all changes, doesn't it, man?
That's right. That's what we say here. If you don't like the weather in Wisconsin, just wait 5 minutes. It'll change.
And Lance Dominguez was commenting on the Notre Dame talk, and he said they played a culinary academy. Sounds about right. All right, let's get into the show here. We're 12 minutes in. Like I said, just wanted to chat with you guys there. Appreciate y'all hanging out in the chat. We got a couple of things we want to show here. For those of you who don't know who Brian Baldinger is, he's worked with NFL. I think he worked with NFL Matchup for a while. He's been breaking down football film as long as I've been a football fan. Absolutely love the dude. I think he retired around 93, maybe somewhere around there. I could be wrong. But whenever we show a breakdown and someone talking about it, I always like to tell you why we should listen to him, right? And Tim, first of all, gets full credit for this. He's the one who found the first video. And I went up, man, how the heck am I not following Brian Baldinger? Like, I love his breakdown. So at some point or another, I was unfollowing people trying to clean up the timeline, and I unfollowed him. But Brian Baldinger was an offensive lineman in the NFL for 11 years. I'm pretty sure he played O-line, but he definitely spent 11 years in the league. So he's someone that knows exactly what he's talking about. You could tell he's very intelligent. Like we talked about, Tim, he got one of those pinkies dangling, just like our boy Larry McCarron, right? You can tell he's been through the trenches, been through the battle. But this first play here, tell them a little bit about it and kind of how it caught your eye. It's the one, where we're talking about them getting creative with Aiden Hutchinson. And then we'll let Baldy take it away and see what he had to say.
Sure. One of the things that we obviously talked about going into that game was Aiden Hutchinson. He was moved around a lot the first time we played Detroit, and he absolutely ate us up defensively. And this play right here is going to give you kind of in a nutshell what the approach clearly was offensively in this game plan, and it was to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at Aiden Hutchinson. And on this play, you're going to see it starts with Jordan Love. Jordan Love made a check at the line, motioned a little extra help over to the strong side. I believe it was to the strong side of the ball. And you're going to see not one, not two, but 3 Green Bay Packers block Aiden Hutchinson on this play at each level of the play. And it ends up being a great play to Malik Heath for a completion. I don't know if this was a game tilter, but this is a great inside look at the scheme and the approach when dealing with an elite pass rusher and defensive player like Aiden Hutchinson. So this will give us a really good look using a tight end, a center, and a running back to take Aiden Hutchinson out of this play. This is great.
All right, so here we go. And again, I got to say this going in. I'm going to give a little spoiler here. This is the first time I can remember seeing, and it could have happened before. I know we did it with Bach a couple of times. The famous play in Dallas where Rodgers hits Cook on the sideline. We actually had a play where he sprinted left, and the left tackle bent way outside and kind of became a personal protector for the quarterback, right? And that's what gave Rodgers time to allow that second window to open up on the sideline. This is the first time since I've been watching football I have seen a guard pull to pass block. And Tim, I can't thank you enough for finding the clip, but let's check. And this is a good example too, guys, right here, of plays where I talk about they don't make them the chalk talk. The reason they don't make them the chalk talk sometimes because it wasn't a scoring drive. It may have been a whoa, cool play, but it really led to nothing. Nonetheless, this kind of gives you a little bit of behind the scenes coverage of exactly how Matt LaFleur wanted to take Aiden Hutchinson out of the game. But here we go. Here's Brian Baldinger. Again, follow him on Twitter. Awesome follow there. Dude knows way more about football than I will ever think about knowing. But here we go.
Watch the meticulous game planning by the Packers on a short week. Jordan Love weighs the rookie Tucker Kraft in motion. That's the Lions' best player, 97, Aiden Hutchinson. Kraft is going to hit Hutch first. Then they pull the center, Josh Myers, out. And after he gets done with them, then Myers hits him. And then after A.J. Dillon takes the play action fake, he goes and he hits Hutch. They were not going to let Hutch destroy or ruin this offense today so that Jordan Love can make this sidearm throw to Malik Heath, his second catch of the season. That's great game planning by the Packers.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those plays, Tim, where it didn't make chalk talk for me. And it sucked because I wanted Malik Heath to make it into chalk talk, but I'm like, man, I can't deviate away from what I'm trying to accomplish with chalk talk, right? You want it to flow. What was the game flow?
Yep.
What led to the scoring drives, those type of things. But man, that was so cool to watch, right?
Yeah, that's excellent. And it's knowing your team too. It's because it's real easy to go, all right, Zach Tom, go out there and handle Aiden Hutchinson all day. And then it's like, well, and he probably will, but my goodness, man, blocking by committee is, if you really watch that play, I don't think Jordan gets that throw off without at least 2 out of those 3 blocks there offensively. And again, Tucker Kraft doing the little things that we talk about that are so clutch to these plays happening. And we get a completion over the middle to Malik Heath out of it. And Baldy's right, man. That was the game plan, right? Do not let Aiden Hutchinson blow up your offense. And we like the result we got. So great work. And hey, nice to see Josh Myers moving and actually blocking a human. That was great, man. That might have been the play of the year from Josh Myers.
I'll tell you this, it might have been the only block he made according to PFF's blocking grade, right? Pass blocking grade, I should say. We got Emilio joining us now. Jake Shavik in the chat says they learned from the Raiders game. You love to see it. Absolutely. And that's what we wanted. We wanted adjustments. We wanted things to kind of, the coaching staff to be able to adjust on the fly and not be so hard-headed. You've seen them made a lot of adjustments. Now you're starting to see the sift come back into play. Again, they had overused it early in the year, got away from it. Now you're seeing it kind of come back into effect. Emilio, did you get to see that play? If not,
yeah. No, I was just watching it. I was hopping on there. I was just like you said, man. I'm happy I'm happy Musgrave was hurt, man. We would have run a double sift there and tried to stop him that way. But no, really, the Lions should have taken some notes and done the same thing with Gary because he was just eating him up. But this is what we've been asking for. Don't put him on an island. If he's on an island, let's get a quick pass. 1, 2, 3 step drop, and then if we're trying to do a deep ball, let's protect Love and let's not let, bad things happen to him as he's starting to climb.
Definitely. Red Mo in the chat says, so 2 rookie tight ends on an elite pass rusher isn't the move. Good to know. Hey, it's a backhanded comment there, Red Mo, but I can appreciate that because that's exactly what went through my mind when when we read Jake Shavik's chat for sure. We got another play here too. This is for the A.J. Dillon pass play. This is from Brian Baldinger as well. It's so cool because, again, the first time I watched these videos was today. And if you guys go back and watch Chalk Talk, you'll notice that I pointed out the emotion on the sideline too and how important it is to see A.J. Dillon have success, how his teammates love him, this and that. It was really cool when I heard Brian Baldinger say it earlier, and the only reason I found this video is, again, because Tim recommended the first video, and these 3 were right together. I seen it and I was like, they're going to think I stole that from Brian Baldinger. It's funny. I came away with the same thing and I was looking at the TV copy. He's looking at the all 22, but let's play this video real quick. Again, this is from Brian Baldinger on Twitter. Him breaking down the tape and pointing out this A.J. Dillon. Again, this was the play action shoot pass, okay, where you had a Y leak, you had 3 verts kind of stretching the field. You'll see the backers take a step forward with the play action, then bail completely out, and it opens everything up for A.J. Dillon. But I love Brian Baldinger's take right here on A.J. Dillon.
Sometimes all you need to know about a player's value to a team is the reaction of the team. Like this screen to A.J. Dillon going to the left right here. Because yesterday he had to fill the shoes of a lot of different players. And he jumps over the defender and takes the shot from Anzalone right there. And he bounces off him like a bug off a windshield. And then you just watch the reaction. The reaction, oh, is that Showtime? Is that Aaron Jones right there? Like, you could just see the reaction right there. That's my dog. And look at Rashan Gary getting up off the bench. Like, the reaction of the team tells you everything you need to know about A.J. Dillon. Special player for the Pack.
Yeah, love it, man. Love it. And Red Mo in the chat says here, let's see. He says the worst part about a Thursday game is the long wait for more Packers football. It's so freaking true, man. So true. But again, that play to A.J. Dillon, man. What'd you think, Tim? I know we talked about it on Chalk Talk. It's cool to see another former NFL player kind of recognize it too, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it shows this young team coming together, like we've said. You know, that's one of the things that we have to give credit to our staff, Matt LaFleur and the coaching staff too, is through the 4-game losing streak, through the adversity, these guys, there was no finger pointing. You know, this team basically came together through the adversity, and now we're kind of out of the other side of that. Now we're talking playoff picture possibilities. We're talking about meaningful football in December, and these guys are firing on all cylinders. They're playing together. My favorite was to see Bo Melton. I don't know if Bo Melton was more excited for A.J. Dillon or to actually be in pads on the sideline and in the lineup. But good to see him out there. One of my underrated picks from training camp, a guy that I thought was going to make the team. And it's just cool to see him suited up. But yeah, man, these guys, Rashan flying off the bench and just, you know, I can hear him scream and quit playing with him. Stop playing with him. That's the Rashan quote of the year. But yeah, man, this team is 100% together, and you know, it's really rare, right? Normally, when you get a team this young, you've got a lot of personalities and egos and youthful exuberance and, you know, misplaced you know, emotions sometimes, and it can be hard to wrangle all of that together and get these guys focused on what they need to do. And they look more focused and they look more unified. So certainly great to see that.
Definitely. Omer in the chat said Dillon's a moose. I like that, by the way. That boy just wait. AJ weather now. Let's see him at a snowy Lambeau on Sunday. That would be absolutely awesome. What do you think, Emilio? You're a big fan of the running game, man. Mm-hmm. Having that heavier top back when the weather turns cold, man, it matters, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. Big fan of AJ. You know, coming from Boston College, he's lived it. He's played in the snow. He knows what it's like. I was watching. You watched that Iowa State Kansas State game last night?
That's what we were just talking about.
Oh man, I loved it. That's and that's the weather. That's what you miss, man. That's backyard football to a T. You get a little bit of snow on the ground, you and your buddies are going out there playing. But I love AJ. You know, he's stepped up. We've given him a lot of grief. A lot of people have, you know, been on him, and, you know, they were wondering where the quads were. Quads were in full motion, you know, this week, like a train on tracks, man. He goes downhill, and that's what we need coming up. You know, if we have injuries, you know, we lost 2 scat backs, you know, in one game. So, you know, maybe a power back is what you're looking for. But with Matt LaFleur's offense, with what we're trying to do here, with how subpar the blocking is, you know, for running most of the time, yeah, we need somebody that can kind of make his own weight or push the weight forward. I'll take a 1 to a 3 yard gain over a loss any day.
How about Jay Money getting that ball out in time too, and in rhythm, giving Dillon a chance to get the wheels turning.
Can you
a few weeks ago we see that ball and Dillon's tackled as soon as he catches that pass. I mean, that was a good timing and good ball placement too to kind of hit him in stride a little bit. And
can you spin that once more, Clayton?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me turn the actually I'll have to bring it back up. It's cool.
Okay.
Right now.
No worries. I just wanted, because I hadn't had a chance to run Chalk Talk yet, so I just wanted to see. I wanted to pay attention to the sideline this time because I've been watching AJ.
Sometimes all you need to know about
I want to just check it out here. You can go for it.
Gotcha. Here we
Let's
go.
see
Let
what we
me.
got here.
I hate that it automatically puts it up there. It wasn't me trying to put it over you there. It's just
No, you're good.
when you share the screen, boom, it's there. All right, I get the sound down, so we should be able to watch it kind of without him talking. Let me just mute it here. So yeah, essentially what it is we talked about it on Chalk Talk too. So you had F Jet here, right? So your F receiver was Watson. He comes over, and they're both going to kind of stretch the field and go off the screen. Over here, you got the tight ends going to chip and leak out. This guy's stretching the Z receivers also stretching the field, and then of course you got AJ is going to do a little play action shoot. Now listen, who am I to say a former NFL player is wrong? I'm not going to. He said it was a screen.
Yeah.
Some people may refer to that as a screen. The only time I see a screen, or I call it a screen, and everybody may look at it a little different, is when you got blockers out front. He didn't have any blockers. These guys were actually running routes. They weren't blocking down the field. And to me, it was just a play action shoot. Once Jordan realizes these backers are going to, kind of they'll take a step up on the play action, and then they bail out to cover those 3 go routes or whatever it is down the field that go off the screen. Then he hammers the shoot underneath. And like Tim said, it's all about timing here. Yep. A couple of weeks ago, this ball doesn't come out on time, right? Watch the linebackers right here. See that one step, just that hesitation there. You'll see them both kind of hesitate right here. As soon as they go to the play fake, especially the one in the middle, that step right there, It's over. Now everybody's got a bail, wide open.
Yep. And that's a 5-man rush coming at Love too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So dump it, get rid of it quick. Here comes the choo-choo train down the hill.
Yep. You love it, dude. God, it's just such a fun play. Look right here. In the upper right, underneath the live symbol, that's Rashan Gary. Watch him. Right underneath the live symbol right now. Keep an eye right there. Watch this. He couldn't take it. He's like, oh, no, dude. Let's go.
Mid-conversation, talking to Preston, LVN, about how we're going to rush the edge next time. No way. I'm not letting my boy hear a little bit of hype after a play like that.
Absolutely, man. You love to see it, dude. Like Doug said here in the chat, he said, tells you a lot about 28 and the team, kind of how they feel about him. There's no doubt about that, man. Just an awesome teammate. Again, I wanted to work out for him, simply because he loves the area. Obviously, his wife is a Green Bay girl or a Door County girl. Like, I want to see him stick around. If he continues to play the way he is, especially in the passing game, now he becomes – that's the one thing that would limit me from giving him any extra money is I think we would all agree the running game is struggling because of the line. It's not because of the backs. You hear that from Mike Wall. You hear it from people I trust that know more about football than me. If it's the offensive line's the problem, why are you going to punish the running back? That doesn't mean you break the bank to keep him, right? But the market is so down, you can keep a back like him, especially when he's starting to turn it on in the passing game. Guys, this is 2 weeks in a row now that A.J. Dillon was one of the reasons the passing game got going, because Love's hitting him, Love's trusting him underneath. It's absolutely huge. Nick in the chat here says it's like a completely different team almost. They're executing so much better than just a month ago. It's amazing how a little bit of momentum, Tim, changes the season, dude. I mean, it does. It feels like a different team.
Look at them now. You talk about mistakes being, mistakes are only bad if you don't learn from them. This is a team that clearly learned from these mistakes. And we're starting to slowly see the shift. And that play right there we just talked about is a great example. Like we said, Jordan probably takes a sack there. He's ball padding or maybe forcing one. Maybe he does throw one, force one on the 9 route or one of those goes. This is great to see. No hesitation. It's almost like he knew, when he saw the linebackers take that step, Jordan wasn't even into his drop. He wasn't even near the top of the drop at all, and that ball just came out immediately. So you're seeing that sense develop where you get that sixth sense where you can kind of just see how a play is breaking down in front of you, and that was his only option. It was either the check down to Dillon or the ball's got to be thrown to your coach on the sidelines or something, because that play could have been really bad for us. And yeah, kudos to Dillon catching that ball in space with 2 defenders bearing down on him, and just. Sometimes you'll see a back, especially running backs, when they catch a short pass like that, they'll tense up and they're bracing for these, for the hit. And it's like Dillon went straight, almost Walter Payton mode there, just fearless, catching that ball and running up the sideline. And you're right, Clayton. Him being a threat in the passing game, that's just another tool in the toolbox for A.J. Dillon, and just another reason to keep him around, really. here in Green Bay.
And he's catching them, Tim. We've had a problem these past couple of weeks with, Aaron Jones dropping them. We're wondering what happened to his hands. And A.J. Dillon has just been steady Eddie, churning butter, man. That's all he does is just sits there and just moves the ball down the field for us. And it's kind of like, he's like our Derrick Henry. You leave him in all game with everybody injured. You could leave him in all game and pound the ball and we'd still be all right. But, seeing him be able to expand his game, catch those, be out there for Jordan, pick up blocks. Also on that full, max protect, full deep shot to Christian Watson, you got to fill that hole and you got to make contact with somebody or else Jordan Love's getting blasted, or his hands getting smashed, the ball's coming up shorter than it already kind of did. But, we just need to see, we need to see that from him.
Absolutely. I think it's a good primer. I'm kind of glad we got Detroit for Thanksgiving right before this Kansas City game because like Clayton said, man, the Kansas City defense is going to be the biggest test for Jordan so far, I believe. And if we're talking about this team possibly squeaking into the playoffs and playing competitive football, playoff football, if we can beat a team like Kansas City with their defense, that'll show us who we're really made of. This is going to be a huge test. For our defensive as well too. We can't write off Kansas City. They've struggled offensively this year, but hey, that's an Andy Reid coach team. They got Pat Mahomes, they got weapons, so both sides of the ball, it's going to be a heck of a test for this team. And I'm just glad to be confident right now going into a game like this rather than how we felt maybe a month ago about our team. I don't think we'd feel as good as we do now. So kudos to the Packers, man, just fighting through that adversity and continuing to get better. This team is improving week by week, and we can see it.
No doubt about it. Chad Inc. says, time for church later, posse. Hey, go get that cup filled up, man, so you can share it with other people, brother, for sure. Let's see. Steve is real here says, what I love about J Love is everything he went through in his life from his dad passing away when he was a young kid and everything else. So happy for him and what he's accomplishing in his life. We've kind of refrain from talking about the details of that on this podcast because I haven't heard Jordan Love talk about it yet. And, for me, it's like if someone wants to talk about it, they'll talk about it. And when they talk about it, then we'll mention it, as far as the details, there's nothing wrong with what you said here, Steve. I just want people to understand, that story will be told soon enough. And I feel like Jordan should be the first one to talk about it. But you're exactly right, man. Just knowing the stuff that he had to go through as a child and, now coming out here and starting to hit the peak in the league, man, it's just so easy to root for him. There's no doubt about it.
Definitely.
Yeah. Especially considering how young Jordan is. And when you look back on that, it's like that wasn't that long ago. You know what I mean? Like for us, Clayton, we're up in our 40s now, right? So when we look back to childhood, it's we got to look a little further back. And, so yeah, I think it's so great to see. And I really respect you for that too. If anyone should tell this story, it should be Jordan, or his mother. I would like to hear them talk about it before we start talking about it. But very well said there for sure.
Right. No, and I feel like if the time comes when it comes to that point, it would be kind of a pregame, a whole sort of segment on and just kind of dive right into it. It would be, I feel like it would be once they think that the Packers are going to commit to him full time, long term, they're going to kind of open that up. But why do we need to add more to his plate right now in regards to that? Not saying that, we're talking about or trying to add to it, but, the NFL is not going to really open that up unless, it's maybe week 17 or week 18, we're going into a playoff spot, Jordan, how'd you get here? How did you grow to be the man you are today and here, leading the Packers into a playoff push sort of thing, something like that. But no, man, love Jordan, everything he's gone through and what he does for this team and what he cares about. It's just everybody in that locker room, man.
Yeah, definitely. Nick McSwain in the chat said, how about that J Love keeper towards the end of the game? It's funny. Yeah. I didn't include that on Chalk Talk for that very reason, because to the best of my knowledge, it didn't really lead. I don't think it led to a scoring drive, or maybe I just keyed in on one specific play on that drive. But that was toward the end of the game. So, yeah, it probably didn't lead to a scoring drive. So, with that being said, what I would like to do is maybe cut a separate video and do that and just show the read option, because like people pointed out, A.J. Dillon gets absolutely annihilated. And that's what that play is designed to do. Imagine being the running back in that position and going, okay, That defensive end, they're giving him a free shot on the running back if he'll take it. Because if he takes it, you're pulling the ball out of the belly and the quarterback's keeping it, right? So you're kind of a decoy. Now, you've also got to be ready to take the ball, because if that defensive end stands straight up, if he strafes, then you're getting the ball and you got to find the gap. You got to work inside zone and you're off and running. Him kind of taking the bullet there says a lot about it too, because he took a shot. And man, it just as soon as I seen it, I'll never forget, I was sitting about, I don't know, probably about 15, 20 feet away from the TV in the bar area in the kitchen. You can see the big screen at my brother-in-law's house. And as soon as I seen the defensive end, like when Jordan started to hand the ball off, and I looked at the pass routes or whatever, going, okay, this doesn't look like it's set up to be a pass. It's just kind of processing really fast. My eyes go to the defensive end and him coming full speed. And I went, please keep this football, Jordan. And he did, sure enough, man. He takes off. And I love how the camera almost gets faked out sometimes. They stay kind of zoomed out and then they're on it, right? Just such a
That's
cool
how you
play.
know you're selling that fake, man. You fake out the camera.
And what's your take on that, Clayton? You think it was a read option, or do you think he pulled that in the heat of the moment? Because I was thinking the same exact thing you did. When I saw that defensive end crash, I was like, there goes our 3rd and 1. But to your point about taking the hit, that's why we have A.J. Dillon. But let me hear, what do you think? Was it
I need that you guys get tired of hearing this. I need to go watch it because I haven't broke it down. But I will say this. What you're seeing is the RPR.
Yeah.
Right? It's so exciting because this is what Philly made a living on the last couple of years. All right, so you've got what we call a read option. Some people just call it zone read. I call it quarterback read option, because when you say zone read, people immediately think, okay, it's just an inside zone and he's reading the defense. No, a read option is when the quarterback will take the ball, like I said, put it in the belly of the running back. He'll read the defensive end, okay? If the defensive end crashes on the back, then the quarterback keeps it. If the defensive end stands straight up, he gives it to the running back. Now, that's the read option aspect, okay? So forget the read option for a minute. You've got what we call an RPO. An RPO is a run-pass option. So it'll be a play where the quarterback will take the snap, and he'll look at the defense. And let's say there's a DB he's watching. Let's say there's a nickelback he's watching, or a linebacker, right? And it might be a lookie, which is kind of a quick slant. I've always heard it called a lookie. You may have heard it called something else. But he takes the ball, he puts it in the belly of the running back. If that linebacker crashes on the running back, he's going to throw that slant real quick by his ear, okay? If the linebacker kind of stays back and recognizes this might be a run-pass option and he stays put, you give it to the running back. So that's what you call an RPO. An RPR is run-pass-run option. So you've got the run-pass option in play, so you can either fire that out if the backer crashes, right? Or you can hand it off to the running back, okay? That's the RP aspect. The R aspect is if that defensive end crashes in, the quarterback can keep it and run. That's what we refer to as an RPR. Now, there's a second window RPR that I've heard people talk about, Greg Cosell in particular, where they might have a rollout play. So it's a run-pass option with the rollout. Now the quarterback has the option to pass it again. So it's almost like there's 4 options in one play. This is what's putting stress on defenses across the league. Yep. This is what Aaron was doing to win back-to-back MVPs, was the run-pass option, but you didn't have the run aspect as a threat. No one thought Aaron Rodgers was going to run with the ball. You don't believe me? Look at how he threw Jalen Ramsey 3 rows up into the field, because he caught Jalen Ramsey off guard in that game. You guys remember that, where he spun him out of bounds? One of my favorite pictures ever of Aaron Rodgers. Him celebrating the end zone and Jalen Ramsey over there picking himself up off the turf. And there's literally a Packers fan pointing at him laughing on the ground. It's the best. So that's the RPR aspect. To answer your question, boy, it's long-winded. I'm sorry. I'm such a nerd when it comes to football. I think it was probably a read option, but I need to go back and look at it. If it was a different point in the game, there might have been an RPR in play, but the fact that you're trying to run the clock out is probably just a read option. I'll do that today. I'll break that down for you guys as soon as we get done, and I'll get the video uploaded for sure.
And a 3rd and 1, right? Short yardage situation. We've been slamming Dillon into the middle, like, in these situations. Looking just situationally at game flow, I'm thinking that sounds like a Matty LaFleur call right there. Right, 3rd and 1. Let's catch them. They've been anticipating Dillon coming up. A gap here in this situation. Let's call it. I think he did. Who knows? We'll see. Right. But again, a great job by Jordan Love, right? Even some of those in previous weeks, maybe he's not pulling that ball out. We saw a couple of those where he probably could have pulled it out and ran. to daylight. But let's talk about the awareness in our young quarterback, our first-year starter. You know, I seen a lot of people on Twitter saying, "Oh, he could have scored." Well, or he could have got ripped down from behind and been on the injury report next week.
Yep.
There's a lot of things that could happen. You could get that ball punched out, and we got a turnover on that play. So knowing the situation, picking up the yards and taking the slide. You know, like Clayton, you hit it on the head. Joe Barry knew that was the approach. This team knew that was the approach. The biggest enemy of the Lions at that point was the clock. And you got to keep the clock moving. And that tells you what you need to know. We talked about Jordan Love and, you know, the adversity he's faced and the type of leader he is. Tells you all you need to know about your QB1 right now. That the heck with my stats, the heck with getting a tutty and getting a celebration and making the highlight reel. I need to do what's best for my team to win this football game. And that's what Jordan did.
The only stat that matters is the W in the win column.
That's right.
And like you said, Tim, that drop, if he gets tracked from behind, drop hip tackle, boom, there goes an ankle, done. You know, it's that simple. It could happen that fast. But he's always had that. Every time he scrambles, he's always got his head on a swivel. I love that. Yep. He's always looking to get down, figure out where that hit's coming from. He needs to protect himself. He's realized that. I'm sure Rodgers drilled that into his head. Hey, man, when you take off and run, if you want a long career in this league, you better not take hits. You know, be smart about it.
You got yelled at for that one by LaFleur earlier this year where he dove head first, like little Bobby Boucher head first.
Yeah. And there's a time and place for that for sure. We need that sometimes. You know, when you need a spark, like, you know, whenever I needed a spark for the team, what do we do? Okay, someone's coming. I'm coming across crease, and I'm gonna absolutely just take somebody's cleats off. Okay, that's what we're doing when you need a spark for that team. But you know, Jay Love, he's starting to get the full mental picture of the game, and I like that the timing in each individual play is coming down and sharpening up as well.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with all that, man. You know, like he said, he went back to LaFleur and he's like, "What are you doing? Slide there," and he said, I feel like we needed some juice. And that's a leader. That's freaking awesome. Steve Israel said, here's a question. He said, what's the one thing we should be worried about KC besides Mahomes? I'll give you a good one here, Steve. A lot of people don't know this about Kansas City. This is opponent points per game. This is defensive numbers, how many points they're giving up per game. Kansas City's third at 16.4. If you go to their points per play, Kansas City is third in points per play at 0.275. So many people are looking at this like, oh, it's going to be a shootout, this and that. Green Bay will be able to score 30 points. No. This is a different Kansas City team right now. Now, if they come out and do it, check another one off the box, right? That means this offense is really cutting the corner. So that would be my answer there for sure. Let's do this. We got one more video we want to hit on. Since we were on the Jordan Love topic, you've got Brian Baldinger talking about 3 throws that Jordan Love made. So let's see what Baldy said about Jordan Love.
Okay, 3 throws from Jordan Love on Sunday in the second half right here. This one down the middle of the field to Romeo Doubs. And just make up your own conclusion about just how effortless these throws are. Like this throw across the field being chased by the Lions right here. He doesn't really like it. I don't even know how he sees Malik Heath. Malik Heath came in with 1 catch all year, and he makes this throw across the field, an absolute dime. And then this touchdown throw to Christian Watson. I mean, I can't watch Jordan Love play and make him these throws and not think about the ease that Aaron Rodgers did it for like 16 or 17 years there, or 18, whatever it was. Like, it's just one perfect throw with absolute ease from every angle by Jordan Love.
God, you love to see it. I'm going to roll it one more time with no sound. I want you guys
Please.
Should I say it again, Clayton?
This is one of the plays that didn't make Chalk Talk because it wasn't a scoring drive. But look at this throw, guys. Look at this window open up. He knows Hutch is bearing down on him. Watch him just get this thing outside on him. Bro.
His hand is over the hash marks, but he's standing 3 yards to the left, and he just spins it.
Look where he puts it on Dobby, too, man. Look at the defender jumping right there in the middle, too.
Calling him J Money for a long time. I told you, give him number 10 because he's only throwing dimes.
Look at this. This is the Heath throw. What I want you to really
look at the hips. Look at the hips on that.
Dude, look
he's reading.
Think of his reads. Think of his reads right here, okay? Watch it. I went back too far. I about said a dirty word there. Oh, hold on a minute. Let's see. Let me get it back here. I want you to watch his read here. Ready? He's surveying. Snap. 1, 2, 3. Nope. 4. Nope. 5. Nope. Okay. Hey, work it. Heath. 6. That throw, bro, across his body.
Yeah, that's where that ball has to be. If that ball's down, we're in trouble.
That's like a 45, that's like a 40, 50-yard throw right there because it's coming all the way across field up.
I'll tell you what he got from Aaron. Watch the release on that other angle here. If you got that, the next.
You're right, Emilio. That's easy 40 yards.
Right, and just standing, just kind of, just sort of hopping, sitting there, and it's literally from one side of the field across to the other. You know how hard that throw is in college? I mean, you see those get picked off all day long, just from inside the hash. He's standing on the numbers, throwing it to the other numbers, up 10 yards. It's wild.
A few years ago, that'd get a quarterback benched for even throwing that ball.
Tim, did you say you want to see the Dobbs throw again?
No, I wanted to see this one right here that you got. Just watch the release here. Right. Watch the release when he lets this ball go.
Tap.
See the? Oh, yeah. I'm telling you that finger. It's the fingers and the wrist, and that's something that he got from Aaron for sure.
Yes.
We talk about the arm strength. We talk about feet set, top of the drop. There's so much that goes here, and that's where the effortless. I can't say the word. It doesn't take much effort. It doesn't look like it takes much effort.
There we go.
Listen, they hear my accent. They know we're making up words on this pod.
Hey, there you go. You made it look so easy, but a lot of that comes from that follow through.
Yeah.
And this is
the wrist and the fingers as he's letting that ball go. That's where that spin's coming from.
Since we broke this down in Chalk Talk, everybody knows the end result here. They were in single high look. You had a 2 high beater on Jordan's right, our left right now, and you had a single high beater on the other side, which it was Y quick motion, right? You'll see Tucker Kraft here, which, by the way, Tucker Kraft, I mean, listen, his PFF grade was low. The touchdown pass was a gift, but knowing he can go out there and play, against a division rival and play Y if Musgrave isn't available, that's a nice little tool to have in the bag. But you'll see quick motion. He goes out wide, he sits. And the inside, the Christian Watson now becomes the inside receiver. So what we call that is Hoss. The outside, the number 1 receiver is a curl, a sit, and the number 2 receiver, the inside receiver, is a go. That concept is called Hoss. Watch Jordan here. All right, motions. He's going to take one look at the safety. Oh, we're good. Let me just hold him for a second. All right, let's roll this. Bang. That's the 1 high beater on that side. And I mean, it's just a perfect throw.
Right. And I love, Clayton, that they're not splitting the field for him. It's not like, they're splitting the field for him to give him 2 separate beaters, but they're not splitting the field for him for mentally only process one side,
right,
get it dumped out. He's past that point. He can see it. He's starting to glue all that together, and it's exciting to see.
What Emilio's talking about too is a lot of times, and this happens a lot in college, they break the huddle or they get the play from the side of the field. The headset's still on, right? I'm assuming they use headsets in college. If not, I know they're using – maybe they don't use headsets. I know they use signals and everything.
Yeah.
Typically what they'll tell a young quarterback is, all right, if they're in this look, you just throw to this side, right? Don't worry about anything else. We pick the side for you. Work this concept. Work the curl. In that case, it might have been something that they would have been sugaring a 2 high safety look, 2 on the shelf, that shell coverage. And the coach says, okay, they've been sending 2 high, they're in 2 high, and on the headset they may tell a young quarterback, and McVay is bad about this. He was with Goff anyway. He would talk to him up to the last second. That's why they would go hurry up. So he had comms with him in the helmet for so much longer. That year they went to the Super Bowl. But he may come to the line and go, okay, right here, man. I think on the other side, if I remember correctly, it was a sit with a cross. That was your 2 high beater. Remember, 2 high equals middle field open. 1 high equals middle field close. So if they sugar a 2 high, and they do a late rotation to a robber look, and the coach has already told the quarterback, work the 2 high side. Now the 2 high side ain't there. That's what we call seeing ghosts. That's called sugaring and hiding, disguising coverages. So, it's I don't know, man, football. As many people say, football is fun.
Yes.
Football is fun. Who is it? Mike Wallace says it. There's someone else who says it too. I can't remember who it is, but I think it's Mike Wallace says football is fun. But anyway, I thought it'd be cool to kind of look at those videos. If you guys would, I know we got a herd in here right now. Hit that like button for us. That way other Packer fans can find this YouTube channel and this content if you're enjoying it. If not, just have a great day and pretend like you didn't even see us. Okay, it's totally cool. So we've covered all of that. We're at the 50-minute mark. We got a chance to end on time, which means we'll probably think of something else to talk about and go way long. But before we do sign off, Tim, is there anything else you wanted to hit on as you get a big gulp of that diesel there? Is there anything else you wanted to hit on, man? Just want to make sure we cover everything y'all want to talk about.
I'm just playing off what we just discussed with Jordan here. This is what, the three years of development that we've seen. He's seen this from the sideline. He's seen it in the film room. And now this year, it's like you got to see it out there in the field of battle while it's happening, and it's not slowed down. You don't have a Microsoft Surface tablet to zoom in and look at these things. You got to see it, process it, and perform in real time. And yeah, little bit of up and down, kind of shaky to start this year. We saw those flashes of what we're seeing now, but we didn't see it consistently. Now we're starting to see consistently him trusting this offense, trusting the reads, trusting himself, trusting his receivers, even trusting Josh Myers blocking. I mean, this it's coming together, guys, and I think there's a lot to be excited for going forward. And we got to remember, there's going to be bumps in the road, but we can't get doom and gloom, and we can't start doubting, because I'll tell you what, I haven't doubted Jay Love at all. And I know Jay Love hasn't doubted Jay Love at all. So we have to believe, hey, and if you love this team and you believe in this team, everyone else in that locker room believes in that quarterback too. And that Dillon play was evident of it. I mean, they were cheering for AJ a lot on that play, but just as much for their QB, getting that ball out in rhythm, is a great example. So, I think there's a lot to be excited for, and I'm really looking forward to this Kansas City game, because this is going to be, you talk about back-to-back primetime games here. At least we get one at home under the lights, against a Super Bowl contender. This is what the NFL is all about. And, I think Jordan's going to shine, man. I really do. A lot of pressure, a lot of spotlight. And the great ones, they always respond in these situations. You look back at all the all-time greats when the stakes are high and, all bets are off here. That's when they perform. And I think Jordan is that dude. And I just can't wait, guys. It's going to be a heck of a game on Sunday night.
Yeah, we got a special request from Derek K, a member of the PTA posse, says, hit that diesel video. That truck rocks right here. Hey, I know Tim had his diesel. How many trucks you see like that down here, Amelia?
Oh my! It's like you get stuck in a red light and then you go boom.
It's always a 5'2" guy that climbs out of it. You notice that?
but they never put the step bars on it, so they're like yanking themselves up to get up in there.
Yeah. I need to get me a truck. I need to get me a vehicle. I haven't bought a brand new vehicle. People, it's funny, man. We own multiple businesses. Very blessed. And they see what I drive, and I know they think, what the hell is he doing? I drive a 2006 Expedition as a work truck.
Oh,
I drive it everywhere, bro.
I got an 07 4Runner.
Look at you guys. I got a 2004 I'm driving right
now. Mandy's got a 2012 Expedition, right? It's just the worst investment you can make is in a vehicle.
Yeah.
But I will say, I'm getting to that point now where I'm like, it's about time to buy. We haven't had a brand new vehicle. I haven't bought a brand new vehicle since 2003 when I bought a Mustang. And 2 weeks after I bought it, I was washing it in the driveway and went, what the hell have I done? I don't I'm stuck with this, right? So car payments will drain you, obviously. But, I think I may need to get me a tool soon.
Get you a road trip unit.
Yeah. See, that's what my purchase would be, is like a motor home, like an RV.
There you go. You can go
shut up and take my money, bro, all day long. But yeah, so Emilio, what do you got? Parting thoughts? Anything else you want to hit on, buddy?
Just hopping back to one of those comments earlier. What for Kansas City? I think it's going to be big to see how the interior 3 O-line handle it. I think Myers, Elton, and Runyon or Ryan, whoever's in there, how we're going to handle Chris Jones, how we're gonna work the middle, and still keep running the ball, down their throats. Try not to get stretched out, but it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a defensive game with both of us in the top 10 there. I think he had it for the points per play, points per game. It'll be a good one, man, and I'm excited to kind of break it down a little bit ahead. But big win, big primetime game, and man, the team is coming together. I'm happy that we could have been wrong on the culture, and I'm happy that they're still fighting, behind closed doors. Whatever the media says, whatever, is hailing outside, they don't care. They're just working.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that we were right on and a lot of things we were wrong on. And we always want to point that out on this show. Like, Tim was talking about with Jordan Love. I still need to see it the rest of the season. Tim said it. There's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be There's going to be a game where he throws 2 picks. It's going to happen. 2 picks, no tutters, and there's going to be people going, "Oh, I thought he was the guy." Like, listen, first year as a starter. Let's give him the full year, right? But like Tim pointed out too, man, I will never forget his face. We try to stay positive on this show. Somebody in the chat said it's time to go to Sean Clifford, and Tim looked like all the blood went out of his face. He was just like,
yeah.
So, and listen, that opinion is welcome. All right, that opinion's welcome in here too. It's just funny that, like you said, Tim, you've stuck by him. I need to see it the rest of the year, but man,
I said the same thing.
In a good direction, man.
Said you can bring Clifford out for a pee, and then you better bring that dog right back in the house because he's not coming out to play. All right, J Love is the man. That's what we're going with, and it's exciting.
And for me, I look at it from the standpoint of think of the quarterbacks who have been pulled and put back in. Typically, it takes them moving to another team before it clicks again, right?
Mm-hmm. And then typically that's all they do the rest of their career, and they bounce around teams.
Yeah. Once you make that move, man, in my opinion, you can't go back. And I'm not saying it should be like that. I'm saying, like I've always looked at it in the past, especially, 5-10 years ago, I would look at it from a standpoint of, look, everybody's a player on this team. If you need to go to a hot hand quarterback, go to the hot hand quarterback and come back. They need to be mature enough to handle it. I always felt like that. I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason you say you're wrong and you acknowledge it is look around the league and look how often it does not happen. Like people immediately say, Nick Foles, right? Nick Foles is one of those guys. Okay, I got you. He came in and won a Super Bowl. What's he done since?
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, what's going on in Philly? Because there was a lot of Philly fans going, Nick Foles needs to be the starter from here on out. If they had approached it that way, then they would have never drafted Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts wouldn't have them in a position to be the best team in the league at the current moment. So I don't know. It's important to acknowledge when you're wrong, and it's okay to say, hey, look, we got that right. Not to run victory laps like they do on Twitter, but it sounds like the pizza's ready over there. Not to do victory laps on Twitter, but just to point out, hey, look, here's what happened in the past. Because if you don't acknowledge the past, you can't set yourself up to be more knowledgeable and prepare for what's going to happen in the future, right? It's
Absolutely.
So Emilio said he had to go there. That was his broker calling. Tell him to sell. Tell him to sell, Emilio. But appreciate Emilio hopping on here with us. Always good, man. The fact that he's getting up earlier, Tim, that's such a dub, bro. That's such
you got me getting up earlier too, man.
Hey, I like it. So we're always prepared to fly solo, but when you boys are on here, man, it makes the show so much more enjoyable. So we're going to get out of here, guys. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us. The chat was absolutely on fire. Really appreciate you guys. We're going to be back tonight for PTA Live. Probably get a little update on the standings. From the games that happen here in the early window and maybe even the afternoon window, give everybody a glimpse into how the standings are going to adjust. The main game, as Packer fans, we need to focus on, though, is going to be played tomorrow night. That is the Chicago Bears on Monday Night Football at Minnesota. We're obviously Bears fans, as silly as that sounds. We want Minnesota dropping as many games as possible to give the Packers a better chance to climb into the playoffs. Obviously, the Seahawks have already played. They lost this week. So those are the two teams we're kind of keeping an eye on. And, of course, we got to take care of business. That's first and foremost. The Packers need to win as many games as they can coming down the stretch so that they don't have to depend on other teams. And like Jake Shavink said, if you guys would hit that like for us, we'd really, really appreciate you doing that. That'll get this content into the hands of other Packers fans. So that being said, we're out of here. Tim, thank you for your time, buddy. For those of you listening on the pod, thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world and go Pack Go.